to Antigua. We just made it. Having a cold Cara. Brendan's had a couple of Cokes. Working on his machine, doing some internet stuff. And we are here in the Jolly Harbor, I don't know, Jolly Harbor Beach Bar, or Club Bar, whatever they call it, but it's cool. And look at the sunset we're dealing with right now. It's awesome. Look at that. Alright, well, as you guys will remember, we go back a little bit, and you remember that we had our problem with the windlass. The solenoid packed it in when we were back in Guadeloupe. But in getting up this morning, getting ready for our trip, we went to pull up the anchor and discovered that the anchor windlass is not working. You can turn around here and see there is the anchor winch below decks, and there's the control box I've got all opened up there. And I brought my tester down and found that there is power getting to everything, but there was a dead solenoid there. One of these solenoids right here is clicking but not actually engaging power through the solenoid, so that means the contacts inside the solenoid are actually dead. So my only option for that is to bypass the system temporarily and put in basically a short circuit is the only thing I can do. So I've put in this wire. You see this wire here, you follow it back, and I've hooked it up directly to the power inside the box. And now if I take this wire, I'm just going to short it out, and it will actually do enough just to jump start the motor. As you can see. And bring it up is just the opposite. So that's what we're going to use to get us out of the anchorage today and get anchored in Antigua. And once we get there, there is some marine chandlery, so I should be able to get the parts that we need. So we are presently here in Jolly Harbor in Antigua, and there's a couple of chandleries in there, of which at one I managed to find our replacement part. So this is the solenoid that should do the job. It's a 12 volt 150 amp, much more current than what we're needing here, so that's going to be good. And now we just have to swap it out with the one that's met its demise, basically. Okay, so just removing the last power cable from the old solenoid. You can see that's the main power cable going out to the actual windlass. So this is the solenoid's been giving the problem right here. So we got main power wire going into the solenoid. This is our ground to the coil, and then we've got our positive trip wire from the coil, or to the coil. And that trip wire is actually coming from this handset here. So when we push the up button or the down button, it actually activates one of these two orange wires that you see here. And this is the one that's supposed to activate the upside, the one for pulling in the anchor. So this is the solenoid giving the problem. It's actually tripping, no problem. It's clicking, but there's no current going through the solenoid, so that's why we're replacing it. But even this one, you can see this has been here for the life of the boat. That's got to be 20 years old, and it's still in good condition. There's a bit of rust or corrosion just on the terminals themselves, but it's plastic cased, so it's lasted a good long time in here. As you can see, if you look at the new one, well, first of all, the new one only has one power terminal on it for the coil, so they're expecting us to just use the casing as the ground. So we're going to have to just put a ground screw right on the casing here, and then the positive tripwire to that lead, and then the battery in, like the heavy cable in, and then the windlass out right there. But you look at this one, and it's just made out of steel. It's a full steel case, that's all it's got. So immediately you can look at that and know the problem is going to be corrosion. This thing is never going to last as long as the one that's in there. We're not going to see 20 years out of this one, that is for sure. So it's unfortunate. I've only got one, that's all they had, but Still going to try and find something better than this one down the road. We're just going to have to use this for now, and it'll do the job, but I'm going to have to coat it with Corrosion X or something like that. WD-40 is a little bit too light, but you know, just something to keep the salt air off of, because the salt air will corrode this on its own in no time at all. And once that starts to happen, it never stops, it just accelerates. So anyway, welcome to Made in China. Not like it used to be, but it is what it is, so we got to deal with it. So that's what we're doing today. So now we're just going to unscrew that last solenoid screw and pull that out. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the new one installed and mounted. Output wires tightened, input wires tightened. We got the ground run up just behind here to the chassis. So that's our ground. And our positive trigger, the orange wire, hooked up to the coil input. So that's all hooked up. Power is hooked up down here. So we got the power wire hooked up as well. So now if we come back to our remote, we should be able to push this and hear the relays click. And that sounds good. So if we come up here, move my wires out of the way, we should be able to push up and down. Okay. We are in business. So that, my friends, is how you troubleshoot and repair an anchor winch on a sailboat. Just cleaning up the rest of my junk here. Stow all the tools away. But in this lesson, yeah, you learned how to diagnose an anchor winch, how to find out what the problem was, and how to replace the part. So that's always good things to know. And it really breaks down to basic electronics. I mean, just positive and negative 12 volts. You just need to have a battery tester. I mean, a light tester can do it, but you need something a little bit more elaborate than that in a lot of cases. So the voltage tester is much better. And the one I've got is a clamp-on amp meter as well, which I'll show you guys later. But really good to have. #1 valuable tool on a boat. So, all right, we'll get all my shit stowed here. And then I think we're ready to start warming up engine and make our way.
The anchor working again?
Huh?
Got the anchor working again?
It's working. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I tested it, it was good, so we'll see. Alright. High five. Got it.
Fall in the locker.
Alright, first successful test of the windlass. Got the snubber up. Now, let's see if we bring the anchor in. And looks like she's coming up. Good news. Okay. All right, anchor's away.
Yep.
This is the south coast of Antigua, and it's gorgeous. Look at this. Just look at that water. That's beautiful. We're just sailing across the southern bank, and in company of a couple other boats. A couple more up ahead of us. So we head down towards the southwest point, go around the reef, and then up towards Falmouth Harbor. Getting all excited, getting underway again. Yep. Tiki's, we're sailing. We're sailing. Well, we're in a lull right now, but we're sailing. Got a few clouds coming off the island there. Sprinkled some rain just behind us. We just missed that, so I guess we left the anchorage just in time. But yes, it's a beautiful day to be on the water, as always. Well, as often happens in the cruising, sailing lifestyle, plans change. We were on our way to Falmouth Harbor, but I decided I was just out having so much fun sailing on the ocean because we had to come around the southwest tip of Antigua and then either just motor straight upwind for like 2-3 hours or just sail out past the reefs, go out on the ocean, and then tack back towards the island. Well, of course I chose sailing because it's a beautiful day and I love sailing, so we went sailing. So we're just heading back in towards the island, but my friends that we were going to meet over in Falmouth Harbor had sent a message and said that they weren't going to be there today. They got tied up with something at their anchorage and we're going to be there tomorrow. But they recommended that we stop along the way at a different bay called Carlisle Bay. So we've just been doing a little looking into that and it looks pretty cool. There's just one big resort there, but it's very quiet, very small. So I think we're going to stop in there maybe and spend one night. And then tomorrow we just get up and then it's just like a 3-mile motor ride just around the point and over into Falmouth Harbor. And we're sailing upwind obviously and against the current coming this way. But you can see that our tacking angle is not great because we've got wind, waves, seas, current, everything all against us. So we're not making great current or a great way to our destination, because here's where we wanted to go, over at Falmouth. But Carlisle's right here, and that, ironically, is right where we're heading. So the wind is taking us right there, and that's usually a clue. So that's where we're gonna go. So we're gonna put in there for one night, chill out, just hang out on the boat for a bit, and probably have a barbecue or something, maybe a couple of beers at happy hour on shore. We got a video to finish up for you guys, so we're gonna work on that and then see if upload speeds are any good in there. Otherwise, we'll wait till we get to Falmouth tomorrow. So, as I say, don't hold yourself to any schedule when you're a sailor, because shit changes. Okay, we got 7 feet under the keel, right in the green spot on the beach. Okay, if we're over sand, you can go ahead and drop. We're in about 15 feet depth overall. So there's the dinghy dock. And supposedly a nice beach bar there. We might go in and check out later for happy hour. Okay, that looks good so far, so we'll just give it a little bit more throttle in reverse. Not too much, but enough to put a little pressure on it and simulate the wind. We don't really have anything to gauge ourselves from the side here. Except for Tiki, and that doesn't work so good, does it? No. I know, you're ready to come out soon, right? Hey Tiki, nice day sailing, eh? Somewhere in the open Caribbean Sea on a beautiful day. Guadeloupe is about 30 miles aft of us, and that is Antigua appearing just off the bow there right now. She looks pretty. Looking forward to seeing her.